15 Mistakes the Royals Made at Princess Diana's Funeral. The tragic death of Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, on the 31st of August, 1997, sent shockwaves around the globe as the United Kingdom and millions worldwide mourned the loss of the beloved princess. The royal family faced intense public scrutiny regarding their handling of Princess Diana's funeral arrangements and the days immediately following her passing. Navigating such an unprecedented outpouring of grief was undoubtedly challenging, and several missteps by the royals attracted criticism at the time. In today's video, we will explore 15 mistakes made by the royals during Princess Diana's funeral. Number 1. Initial silence. The royal family's initial silence following Princess Diana's death was met with widespread public criticism. People across Britain and around the world expected an immediate and heartfelt response from the monarchy, which took several days to materialize. In the days after Princess Diana's tragic passing on the 31st of August, 1997, there was a deafening silence from Buckingham Palace as the grieving public desperately sought solace and leadership during this painful time. The absence of a statement or public address from senior royals, including the late Queen Elizabeth, was keenly felt. This lack of prompt communication heightened perceptions that the royals were out of touch with the nation's emotional state and the global admiration for the Princess of Wales. Many felt it should have been a priority to issue an empathetic response that acknowledged the tragedy and shared grief. Number 2. Flag protocol. Buckingham Palace faced criticism for not immediately lowering the Union flag to half-mast, which many saw as a failure to adequately honor Princess Diana's memory. In the hours and days following the news of her passing, critics questioned why the palace flag continued to fly at full mast, defying the standard protocol of lowering flags as a symbolic gesture of mourning. This was perceived as a glaring sign of disrespect and a failure by the monarchy to properly honor a member of the royal family. Ultimately, after mounting backlash, the palace flag was lowered 2 days after Princess Diana's death. However, the damage from this misstep had already been done. Number 3. Public perception of insensitivity. The royal family's decision to initially remain in Balmoral, Scotland instead of immediately returning to London was viewed by many as a shocking lack of empathy towards the deeply grieving British public. When the tragic news of the princess's death in Paris first broke, King Charles and his sons, Prince William and Harry, were with the late Queen Elizabeth at Balmoral Castle in the Scottish Highlands. As images of mourners descending into despair in London filled the airwaves, the conspicuous absence of the royals from the British capital sparked immediate backlash from a nation overwhelmed with heartache. The monarchy's delay in making the nearly 500-mile journey from their remote Scottish estate back to London was seen as an insensitive affront. By choosing to remain secluded at Balmoral, they projected an unsettling detachment from the profound national anguish and emotional weight of that moment. Number 4. Media relations. The royal family's management of the media in the days following Princess Diana's death was perceived as clumsy and dysfunctional, contributing to a damaging narrative of insensitivity and aloofness from the monarchy. The news cycle after Princess Diana's passing was relentless, with the world's press descending on London and demanding constant updates from the royal family. However, the monarchy's media operation was ill-equipped to handle the increased demands and messaging challenges of such a significant cultural moment, from a lack of coordinated public relations strategy and information flow to uncomfortable tensions between palace officials and journalists. This mismanagement of communication portrayed an administration that appeared overwhelmed and unable to effectively convey appropriate messages to a global audience eager for the monarchy's official stance. And tributes to the people's princess. Number 5. Public relations in the days after Princess Diana's shocking death. As the public mourned with deep sadness, the House of Windsor remained remarkably guarded, prioritizing decorum over emotional transparency. This robotic facade and adherence to traditional royal public relations backfired significantly, as Britain and billions around the world yearned for genuine displays of shared grief from the royals. With Princess Diana being so beloved for her warmth and emotional candor as the people's princess, the demand for relatable human expression from King Charles and other senior royals became increasingly urgent. However, statements issued by royal spokespeople were often formal and legalistic, failing to capture the inspiration and emotional connections that Princess Diana had fostered through her bold approach to royal duties and boundary-pushing actions. Number 6. Engagement with the public. In the shocking aftermath of the Paris tunnel tragedy, impromptu memorials and displays of communal grief emerged across the United Kingdom. However, the royal family largely remained behind palace gates and aristocratic estates, while ordinary Britons sought emotional solace through mass gatherings. This physical detachment from the public's raw emotions was interpreted by many as the monarchy's failure to sufficiently embrace its grieving subjects. For a nation grappling with the incomprehensible loss of its most captivating female figure since Queen Elizabeth, the public demanded that their symbolic sovereigns be both seen and heard sharing in their sorrow. Yet, there is scant visual evidence of King Charles, his sons, or other royals mingling with the tear-stained crowds adorned with floral tributes. Each passing day of perceived reclusiveness only intensified scrutiny over the monarchy's apparent reluctance to connect on a human level, which was fitting for Princess Diana's unparalleled status. Number 7. Funeral arrangements. The contentious debates surrounding Princess Diana's funeral arrangements revealed long-standing tensions regarding her changing status and relationship with the royal family. On one hand, the palace advocated for more subdued proceedings that reflected her divorce status and relinquished titles. In contrast, Princess Diana's family insisted on a grand celebration that honored her unparalleled global celebrity as the people's princess. Disagreements arose over minute details such as the procession route, which charities would be represented, and whether the young princes should participate. These disputes highlighted a fundamental philosophical divide. Ultimately, compromises were reached to allow the funeral to proceed, but the fraught negotiations symbolized the monarchy's struggle to reconcile Princess Diana's revolutionary redefinition of modern royal relevance with its traditional institutionalism. Number 8. Treatment of Princess Diana's memory. Many critics and royal commentators felt that the royal family did not adequately celebrate Princess Diana's remarkable life and significant achievements during her funeral. Instead, they appeared focused on maintaining traditional protocols. While the funeral service at Westminster Abbey achieved unprecedented global attention and public engagement, with an estimated 2.5 billion viewers worldwide, including Princess Diana's sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, bravely participating in the solemn procession behind her coffin, some observers argued that the ceremony remained too rooted in traditional pomp and circumstance. They believed this focus came at the expense of more personalized tributes that reflected Princess Diana's immense humanitarian contributions and cultural impact. For many, the funeral marked a missed opportunity for the British monarchy to share Princess Diana's extraordinary personal story through a modern lens. Detractors argued that the overall production ethos favored traditional aristocratic tastes and preferences, which may have aligned with her now relinquished official titles but did not reflect her significant real-world influence as a revolutionary figure exemplifying social royal reinvention. Number 9. Handling of the young princes. The royal family's decision to have Prince William and Harry walk behind their mother's coffin during the funeral procession was seen by many as an undue burden on the young princes, who were just 15 and 12 years old at the time of their mother's tragic death. Many believed that Prince William and Prince Harry should have been protected from the intense public scrutiny of the ceremony. Walking the full procession route behind Princess Diana's casket struck some observers as a cruel task to impose on two adolescent boys grappling with the raw emotions of grief and loss. While Buckingham Palace defended the decision as an opportunity for the princes to participate in communal mourning, this argument was rejected by those who felt that childhood innocence should be preserved as much as possible after such a devastating tragedy. Seeing the bereaved young princes tearfully accompanying their deceased mother in such a public setting was regarded as a royal overreach that risked causing psychological harm or complicating their grieving process. Number 10. Communication with Princess Diana's family. In the lead-up to Princess Diana's funeral, numerous reports emerged highlighting tensions and communication breakdowns between senior royal family members and Princess Diana's Spencer relatives regarding how best to honor the late princess's memory during the proceedings. The palace advocated for a more subdued ceremony that reflected her divorce status and relinquished titles, while Diana's family insisted on a grand celebration that acknowledged her immense global celebrity as the people's princess. Disagreements arose over details such as the procession route, which charities would be represented, and whether the young princes should participate. These disputes underscored a fundamental philosophical divide. Ultimately, compromises were reached that allowed the funeral to proceed, but the fraught negotiations symbolized the monarchy's struggle to reconcile Princess Diana's revolutionary redefinition of modern royal relevance with its traditional institutionalism. Number 11. Public statements. The delay in public statements addressing Princess Diana's death for a full week from senior royals like King Charles and the late Queen Elizabeth contributed to a damaging narrative that the monarchy appeared detached and out of touch with the overwhelming public mood of grief. Even when statements finally emerged, their impersonal nature and lack of emotional sincerity only added to the perception that the monarchy was failing to provide empathetic leadership during a traumatic time for millions. This was viewed as an abdication of the sovereign's fundamental duty to offer comfort to their subjects during national crises. The royal family's delayed communication projected indifference towards Princess Diana's iconic status and the public's urgent need for perspective and solace from their leaders. These communication lapses crystallized accusations that the crown remained disconnected from societal evolution, hindered by outdated protocols that were ill-suited to the demands of the new century for emotional transparency in public leadership. Number 12. Acknowledgement of Princess Diana's global impact. For a figure who redefined celebrity humanitarianism and transcended national borders through her compassionate outreach, Princess Diana attained an unshakable status among the most iconic figures of the 20th century. Some observers felt that her significant international impact was not fully acknowledged, even within the grand setting of Westminster Abbey. Despite thousands of viewers from around the world gathering in London, many argued that Princess Diana's role as a uniquely global champion of numerous noble causes was not given the recognition it deserved. While traditional Anglican rites and British state ceremonialism dominated the proceedings, some wished for a greater integration of Princess Diana's groundbreaking efforts to humanize royalty, drawing in the admiring global community. Concerns were raised about whether enough charitable organizations and causes that Diana cherished were visibly represented during the funeral. In retrospect, greater inclusion could have highlighted Princess Diana's boundless empathetic spirit while enhancing the monarchy's reputation for remaining culturally relevant and attuned to emerging transnational identities. Number 13. Engagement with Princess Diana's charities. Throughout her public life, Princess Diana was deeply engaged in various philanthropic efforts, ranging from raising awareness about landmines and HIV AIDS to advocating for the homeless and those struggling with mental health issues. Her compassion and genuine desire to make a positive impact on the world endeared her to many. During the funeral proceedings, there was an expectation from some that the royal family would seize this global platform to celebrate Princess Diana's remarkable charitable legacy by highlighting her tireless efforts and the organizations she supported. The funeral could have served as a powerful tribute to her humanitarian spirit and a rallying call for others to continue her meaningful work. Many felt that a more explicit recognition and celebration of Princess Diana's charitable achievements would have been a fitting way to honor her memory and inspire future generations to follow in her footsteps. It could have been a poignant reminder of the lasting impact she had on countless lives around the world through her dedication to helping those in need. While the funeral undoubtedly paid respects to Princess Diana's life, some believed that a greater focus on her philanthropic endeavors would have been a powerful and inspiring way to commemorate her enduring legacy as a global humanitarian icon. Number 14. Use of media. The royal family's ineffective use of media in the days following Princess Diana's death was seen as insufficient for bridging the significant information gap between the institution's traditional privacy and the public's urgent demand for real-time insights into this major tragedy of the modern era. While the reality of near-constant television coverage presented unprecedented challenges for the monarchy, critics argued that their communication strategy failed to adapt adequately for this pivotal cultural moment. The reliance on filtered statements from spokespeople and sporadic controlled media appearances struck many as an outdated PR approach, starkly contrasting with Princess Diana herself. The days between her passing and the eventual funeral were marked by rampant global speculation, often based on minimal official confirmation or privileged background information from royal sources. This spreading information vacuum seemingly allowed narratives of institutional indifference and cold detachment to proliferate almost without effective countermeasures. Number 15. Overall public relations strategy in retrospect. Commentators widely believe that the royal family failed to adopt a public relations strategy that was both modern and emotionally aware to navigate the unprecedented outpouring of global grief following Princess Diana's tragic death. Long-standing royal customs, which emphasized strict message control, choreographed staging, and emotional restraint, appeared woefully inadequate as the world descended into a prolonged period of mourning for its most beloved contemporary figure. The grand displays associated with the monarchy fell flat and were overshadowed by spontaneous public gatherings worldwide, which were marked by both intimacy and large attendance, unprecedented for the royal family. As mourning transcended borders and demographics, the royal family's communication strategy did not shift from its tightly scripted institutional protocols. This failure allowed ongoing public perceptions to develop that they were irretrievably detached and indifferent custodians of the people's princess, who had become a global icon. From failing to adequately address the public's outpouring of grief to missing opportunities to highlight Princess Diana's charitable work, it is clear that there were significant missteps in how the situation was managed. What do you think was the single biggest mistake or misstep made by the royals in the wake of Princess Diana's death? Do you agree with the points we've raised, or did you view the royal family's actions differently? If you could go back in time and advise the royals on how to approach Princess Diana's funeral, what would your top recommendation be? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video interesting or informative, please leave a like and share it with others who might be interested in this topic. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Until next time, goodbye.